His mother appeared at the door of his flat at 3 in the morning, but she had been dead for 2 years. The body was buried at Avalon Cemetery in Soweto. He himself had thrown the first handful of soil on the coffin, yet there she was, standing, wearing the same floral dress she wore at the funeral, staring directly at him with eyes empty and black as coal. She didn't say a word. She just pointed at his chest and made a gesture as if ripping something invisible from the air. He felt a sharp pain in his heart, fell to his knees and started screaming. When he woke up on the lounge floor 3 hours later, there were burnt fingerprints on his shirt, exactly where she had pointed. This wasn't the first time, and it wouldn't be the last, because 6 years earlier, when he was 23 years old and desperate to sign with Kaizer Chiefs, he had done something no child should ever do. He had taken his own mother to a sangoma in Soweto, and without her knowing, had given the sangoma her mother's name, her mother's hair, and a photo of her mother for a blood ritual. The sangoma promised that in exchange for his mother's life force, he would have 3 years of glory in football, 3 years of goals, trophies, and recognition throughout South Africa. The price would be collected later, but at that moment, blinded by ambition, he accepted. Now the collection has arrived. He still plays for Chiefs, but his life has become a nightmare, and it's far worse than he ever imagined. Before continuing with this testimony, write in the comments where you're watching from. I want to know which country or city this confession is reaching. Your participation strengthens this community of truth and can set free other people who might be going through the same spiritual darkness. Hello, family. This is Real Africa Confessions, and today I bring you one of the heaviest confessions I've ever received. Before we continue, I need to ask something important. Don't judge this man. Don't send hate. Don't curse. Don't condemn. He's already being punished in ways none of us can imagine. What we need to do is learn from his story, understand how greed, pressure, and the desperate desire to succeed can lead someone to cross boundaries that should never be crossed. This man sacrificed what was most sacred, his own mother, and now he lives in hell right here on earth. His identity is completely protected. He sent me this confession because he can't carry this weight alone anymore, and because he wants his pain to serve as a warning to others. So listen carefully, reflect, learn, and share. This story might save someone you know. It is written in Mark 8:36. For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? These words cross centuries and all cultures. In South Africa, our grandmothers always said, Ukufa akukethi, death doesn't choose, isono sielandela, sin follows you, what you sow you shall reap. When you destroy your own family to achieve success, you destroy yourself. Success built on family blood is not victory. It's a curse. It's a spiritual debt that will be collected with interest impossible to pay. Keep this in your heart as you listen to this story. His name is Thabo. At least that's what we'll call him here. Today, he's 29 years old. He still plays for Kaizer Chiefs, one of the biggest clubs in Africa. He wears the gold and black jersey. He still enters FNB Stadium in front of 90,000 screaming supporters. But something has broken inside him. On the pitch, he's no longer the man he was. His game has collapsed. His teammates look at him with confusion. The coach threatens to bench him. The South African media, who celebrated him yesterday, now wonder what's happened to him. Doctors say it's stress, fatigue, maybe something with his heart, but the tests show nothing concrete. The truth, Thabo knows, he's being collected. Every night, he lives a nightmare. Every match has become torture. He lives in a nice flat in Sandton, drives a nice car, earns a good salary, but he lives in terror. Terror of sleeping, terror of waking, terror of being alone, terror of the visits that won't stop. Because for 2 years, since his mother's death, his life has become a living hell, and he knows why. But to understand how Thabo got here, we need to go back in time. Back to his childhood there in Diepsloot, an informal settlement north of Johannesburg, in a small shack where he lived with his mother, Mama Nkosi, and 3 younger siblings. His father had left when Thabo was 5 years old. He disappeared and never came back. Mama Nkosi worked as a domestic worker in Sandton, leaving home at 5 in the morning and returning at 9 at night. Even so, the money was never enough. There were days when Thabo went to school without eating. There were nights when he slept hearing his siblings crying from hunger. His mother cried hidden in the bathroom, thinking nobody heard. But Thabo heard, and it burned inside him. He swore to himself that one day he would lift his mother out of that life. He would give her a proper house, buy real food, make her stop working and rest. Football was the only way out he saw. From age 8, Thabo was talented. He played barefoot on the dusty field, but everyone saw he had skill. The coaches said he would go far. The neighbors said he would play for Kaizer Chiefs or Orlando Pirates. And Thabo believed it with all his strength. That dream was all he had. But the road was hard, very hard. He tried out for several clubs and was rejected. He got close but was never chosen. At 20, he was still playing for township teams, earning peanuts, watching the years pass and the dream slipping away. His mother continued cleaning white people's houses. The siblings continued struggling, and Thabo felt like a failure. It was during this time of desperation that Thabo met a man called Mandla. Mandla was a player's agent, dressed well, drove a nice car and had contacts at big clubs. They met at a township match in Alexandra. Mandla approached Thabo after the match and said he saw potential in him, that he could open doors, that he knew important people at Kaizer Chiefs. Thabo didn't believe it at first. It seemed too good to be true, but Mandla insisted. He invited Thabo for a drink at a tavern in Soweto, and between conversation, he dropped the bomb. "You play well, young man, but in football talent alone isn't enough. You need spiritual protection, luck, opening of pathways. I know a powerful Sangoma who works with several famous players, guys you see on TV. They all did the work." Thabo went quiet. He had been raised Christian. His mother went to the ZCC church every Sunday and always said that witchcraft was from the devil, that you shouldn't mess with those things. But there in that tavern, hearing Mandla talk about big contracts and real chances of playing for Chiefs, his mother's voice became weaker in his head. Mandla continued, "Look, I'm not going to force you into anything, but if you want, I'll take you there. Just a consultation. You talk, listen to what the Sangoma has to say, and you decide. No commitment." Thabo thought about it for 3 days, but deep down he had already decided. He wanted out of that life. He wanted to make his mother proud. He wanted to be somebody. And if there was a shortcut, why not try? A week later, Mandla took Thabo to a homestead hidden in the hills near Soweto. It was night. The place was dark, full of red and black candles. Strong smell of impifo smoke. There were bones everywhere, animal skins, calabashes, bottles with strange things inside. Thabo felt his spine go cold, but he continued. The Sangoma was an old man, maybe 70, with sharp eyes and a deep voice. He wore traditional skins and many beaded necklaces. He looked at Thabo for a long time in silence, as if reading something invisible. Then he said in Zulu with a grave accent, "You want to play for Kaizer Chiefs. You want to be big, but your path is blocked. There's a heavy force in your family holding you down. For you to rise, someone must hold your place down here. It's spiritual law. There's no escaping it." Thabo didn't fully understand what that meant, but the Sangoma explained. "You'll need a blood sacrifice, but not just any blood. It has to be from someone very close, someone who truly loves you. Only then is the power released." Thabo felt his stomach turn. "I'm not going to kill anyone," he said. The Sangoma laughed. "You don't have to kill with your hands. You just hand the person over spiritually. I do the rest. It can be your mother. It can be a sibling. It can be your girlfriend. But it has to be someone of blood or true love." Thabo should have run out of there, but he didn't, because the Sangoma said one more thing. "In exchange, I give you 3 years of glory, 3 years at the top. After that, the debt matures, and you'll have to renew or pay." Thabo asked how much it cost. The Sangoma smiled. "To start, 20,000 rand. Then we settle the rest." Thabo didn't have 20,000 rand, but Mandla advanced the money. "You'll pay me back when you sign the contract," he said. And so that night, Thabo closed the pact. But the most terrible part was still coming. The Sangoma asked for a recent photo of his mother, a lock of his mother's hair, and her full name. Thabo froze. "Does it have to be her?" he asked. "She is the root of your life. Her force is the purest you have. If you want maximum power, you have to give maximum sacrifice." Thabo left there undecided, but in the following days, temptation was stronger than conscience. He stole a photo from his mother's purse while she slept, cut a strand of her hair while she was cooking pap, wrote down his mother's full name on a piece of paper, and went back to the Sangoma. When he handed everything over to the Sangoma, Thabo felt something icy pass through his body, as if a door had opened. The Sangoma took the items, placed them in a clay pot with goat's blood, lit black candles around it, and began singing in a strange language, mixing Zulu with ancient words. Thabo saw the smoke take strange shapes in the air, saw shadows moving on the walls, and heard very softly his mother's voice calling his name. but she wasn't there. 3 weeks later, Thabo got a phone call that changed everything. It was Kaizer Chiefs. They wanted him to come for trials. He went, played well, impressed the scouts and coaching staff. In 2 months, he was signing a professional contract. Things happened too fast. Thabo went from township player to athlete at South Africa's most popular club. The training at Naturena, the salary, the structure, everything was a dream. He started in the reserve team, but was quickly promoted to the first team squad. And when he entered the pitch for the first time at FNB Stadium, with 90,000 people screaming, he felt it was worth it. Everything had been worth it. The money started flowing. Thabo bought a new house for his mother in Protea Glen. A car, paid off all debts, put his siblings in better schools. Mama Nkosi cried with happiness. She said God had blessed her son, but Thabo knew it wasn't God. For the first 2 years, everything was perfect. Thabo became a regular player for Chiefs, scored important goals, won trophies, was called up to the national team. The media talked about him as a rising star. Sponsors appeared. His Instagram exploded with hundreds of thousands of followers. He had everything he always wanted, but deep down, a voice whispered that it wouldn't last, and he was right. At the end of the 2nd year of his contract, Thabo's mother started getting sick. Nothing serious at first. Headaches, tiredness, shortness of breath. The doctors at Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital said it was stress, high blood pressure, age-related issues. But it got worse. Mama Nkosi started losing weight rapidly. Her skin turned yellowish. The tests didn't show anything concrete, but she was wasting away. Thabo took her to private hospitals, paid for the best doctors. Nothing helped. One night, Mama Nkosi woke up screaming. She said she dreamed she was being buried alive, that someone was sucking the life out of her, that she felt something heavy on her chest, crushing her. Thabo panicked. He took her to a prophet in Soweto. The prophet looked at Mama Nkosi, and then looked at Thabo with an expression of horror. "Who did work on this woman? Who bound her?" the prophet asked. Thabo felt his blood freeze. He didn't answer, but he knew. The prophet continued, "There's a very dark force around her, a heavy black thing that's draining her life force, and it's connected to someone in the family, someone who handed her over." Thabo left there devastated, but still didn't have the courage to tell the truth. 3 months later, Mama Nkosi had a heart attack. She was rushed to hospital, stayed in ICU for 2 weeks. Thabo visited every day, held her hand, asked for forgiveness, silently, but she didn't improve. And on a cold June morning, Mama Nkosi died. She was only 52 years old. The funeral was massive, as is custom in South African townships. Hundreds of people came. Everyone cried, said she was too young, that it didn't make sense. Thabo's siblings were destroyed, and so was he. But along with the pain came guilt, crushing guilt that he couldn't share with anyone, because he knew he had killed his own mother. On the day of the burial at Avalon Cemetery in Soweto, as he threw soil on the coffin, Thabo swore he would stop playing, return everything, try to undo that work. But when he tried to find the Sangoma, he discovered the homestead was abandoned. Mandla, the agent, had disappeared. His phone was off. Nobody knew anything. And Thabo was left alone with the weight of guilt, and with his contract still active at Chiefs. He tried to continue playing, but something had changed. The body no longer responded. His legs felt heavy, breath disappeared in the middle of matches, and the visions began. The first time Thabo saw his dead mother was 2 weeks after the burial. He was alone in his Santon flat, watching TV, when he felt someone watching. He turned his head, and she was there, standing in the hallway, still, staring at him. Thabo screamed, closed his eyes, and when he opened them again, she had vanished. He thought it was his mind playing tricks, that it was grief, trauma, but it happened again, and again, and again, always in the early morning hours, always in the same place, always the same way. She didn't speak, just stared, with those empty, dark eyes, and with each appearance, Thabo felt physical pain in his chest, as if something was being ripped from inside him. He tried sleeping at friends' houses, in hotels, at the club's training center, but it didn't help. Wherever he was, she appeared. Things started getting worse. Objects fell by themselves. Doors slammed. Thabo heard footsteps in his empty flat. He heard his mother's voice calling his name in Zulu. One night he woke up with his mother's hands around his neck, ice cold, squeezing. He couldn't breathe, couldn't move. He stayed there, paralyzed, looking into her eyes while she was suffocating him. When he finally managed to scream, she vanished, but the marks remained, purple on his neck, like fingers. Thabo went to a different Sangoma, desperate, told everything. The man did some work, lit candles, gave him herbs to bath with, but nothing worked. "What you did is irreversible," the Sangoma said. "You used your mother as sacrifice. Now she's trapped between worlds, and she wants revenge. She wants to take you with her." Thabo stopped going out except for training and matches. He no longer trains properly. His performance on the pitch has collapsed. His teammates started asking what was happening. The coach called him for a talk, threatens to bench him, but Thabo can't tell the truth. How could he explain? He started drinking. He drank to try to sleep, to try to forget, to try not to see. But the more he drank, the worse the visions became. He saw his mother everywhere, in the mirror's reflection, in the car windows, in the changing rooms. Once, during a match at FNB Stadium broadcast on TV to millions, he looked towards the stands and saw her there, sitting, watching, and at that moment his legs locked. He fell in the middle of the pitch, without anyone touching him. He was substituted. He hasn't played well since. Now the coach doesn't trust him anymore. Supporters are starting to boo him. The media says he's finished. His siblings started noticing he was acting strange. They tried to help, but he pushes everyone away. He can't look at them without feeling guilt, because he killed their mother, and they don't know. Now, right at this moment, Thabo is living the collapse. He still plays for Kaizer Chiefs, but everyone knows it's over. His contract probably won't be renewed. He misses training sessions. He plays badly. Rumors are circulating. Some say he's on drugs. Others say he has mental problems. Others still whisper that he's bewitched. And they're right. The money he earned is starting to disappear. He spends everything on alcohol, on sangomas, on profits, trying to find a solution. The nice house in Protea Glen. His family still lives there, but he can't go anymore because his dead mother appears in every room. The car crashed twice in 1 month because he saw his mother sitting in the back seat while he was driving. His friends have disappeared. The girlfriend left, saying he was possessed, that something was wrong with him, and there is. Thabo tried to kill himself once. He took pills, but while sinking into unconsciousness, he saw his mother, and this time she spoke in Zulu. "Awuzukufa manje, uzolufeka njengoba minangalufeka, uzofila usuku no suku wazi ukuthi wenzeni." You won't die now. You'll suffer like I suffered. You'll live each day knowing what you did. He was saved, and now he continues, living a hell. Every match is torture. Every night is a nightmare. He knows his career is over. He knows everything he built will collapse. And he knows he deserves all of it. Thabo sent this confession crying. He says he can't live like this anymore, that if he could go back in time, he would never have done it, that he would trade all the glory, all the money, all the fame for one more day with his mother alive. He says guilt is worse than any haunting, that the pain of knowing he himself caused the death of the person who loved him most is unbearable. "I killed my mother," he wrote. "I went to the Sangoma, handed her over and watched her die slowly without being able to do anything, because I was ashamed to tell. I was afraid of what people would think of me, and now she haunts me every night, and I deserve it. I deserve every second of this suffering." Thabo says he's tried everything. ZCC churches, prophets, sangomas, traditional healers. Nothing works, because, according to what they all say, what he did can't be undone. He used his own mother's blood. He broke the sacred bond between mother and child, and that is unforgivable in the spiritual world. "I wanted to ask her for forgiveness," he wrote, "but she doesn't speak to me. She just looks at me. That look of disappointment, of pain, of anger. And I can't take it anymore. I just want this to end any way possible." Thabo is asking for help, but more than that, he's asking that his stories serve as a warning that nobody makes the same mistake he did. That no dream is worth sacrificing family. That witchcraft with blood always collects, and when it collects, it destroys family. This story is one of the most important warnings this channel has ever brought, because it shows how far ambition can take a person. Thabo wasn't an evil person. He was a poor boy from Diepsloot, a dreamer who wanted to escape poverty. But in desperation, he made a choice that destroyed his life forever, and that choice has a name: Blood Pact. In South Africa, many people don't believe in these things anymore. Many think it's superstition, old beliefs, but spiritual reality is real, and when you mess with forces you don't understand, the consequences are devastating. Thabo used his mother, the woman who gave him life, who worked as a domestic worker until her body broke to put food on the table, and he handed her over to dark magic. And for what? to play for Kaizer chiefs, to have glory, to have money. Was it worth it? The answer is in his life today, destroyed, tormented, without peace. The Bible already warned us. Mark 8:36 says, "For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul?" Thabo gained the world for 3 years and lost his soul forever. And the lesson here isn't just spiritual, it's practical too. Beware of easy promises, beware of shortcuts, beware of those who offer quick success in exchange for small sacrifices. Because in the spiritual world there's no such thing as small sacrifice. Everything has a price. And when the price is family blood, the debt is eternal. If you're going through difficulty, if you're desperate for change, for an opportunity, I beg you, don't do what Thabo did. Don't sell your soul. Don't sacrifice those you love, because no success, no money, no fame is worth it. The devil always collects, and he collects dearly. If you also have a story to tell, a confession that's weighing on your heart, send it to me. You don't have to suffer alone. Here at Real Africa Confessions, we protect your identity completely. Your name, your city, your details, everything stays confidential. The goal isn't to expose you, it's to set you free, and to set other people free through your truth. Many people are going through the same thing as you. Many people are trapped in secrets that are killing them inside. And when you share, when you confess, you break the power of that secret, and you help someone else not fall into the same mistake. So if you were a victim of witchcraft, if you made a pact and are being collected, if you lost someone because of muti, if you're being spiritually persecuted, tell me. Send your story to the email in the description of this video, or message me on WhatsApp. Let's talk. We'll listen to you, and we'll transform your pain into teaching. You're not alone. And you don't need to carry this alone. Share this video. Tag that friend who needs to hear this. Save it to your favorites, because this story can save lives, and it can prevent other families from being destroyed like Thabo's was. Stay blessed, and always remember, no dream is worth your soul. Until the next confession.